Hi guys, it's been a while. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Bella Itemere. Leo nimetembelea aunti yangu na tunataka kuongelea so many interesting things. Kuna vitu ambazo zinahusu madem, tunataka kuongelea a very candid girl talk. You can't miss this because we're going to talk about marriage, we're going to talk about which type of a man can you go and date, which type of a man anaweza kuwa husband material. So guys, this is a candid conversation. Let's do this. So, kuna kuanga na hii perception kwa madem that you have to get married to a rich man.
Wako wapi hawa rich?
Because men will always cheat. Wengine wanakuanga zile za anza na yeye. Okay, it's confusing. It's a confusing state. People are advising you differently.
Now, like I was telling you, it's basically, it's not really about, is it the relationship you want or is it the financial stability you want? You have to pick a struggle. You cannot have your cake and eat it. You have to decide whether you want financial stability. If it is financial stability that is going to drive you, then of course you're limited to a certain class of people. If you want a marriage or if you want a relationship, a proper relationship, then you have no boundary on what kind or what person you're going to be attracted to or what person is going to attract you. And therefore when somebody attracts you or you get attracted to somebody, you decide. Una decide umse mimi nataka tall, dark and handsome. But sasa una hajafika tall but ni handsome. Hana Mercedes but at least anaweza afford kwenda job. Maybe what you should look for more is what's the potential of this person? Are they hardworking? Because I may not be financially stable, but I'm hardworking. I'm able to go out there and find. If you got a guy who, assuming today you got a guy who's financially stable or rich, everybody wants a rich man. But this rich man is never there. Because he also has to go and look for to maintain those riches. Are you going to complain that you're lonely?
Exactly. I want to go busy.
As in, everything has its own challenges. There are better advantages of whether you start together or you don't start together or one is better than the other. But my bigger question usually is, umse ukishamget, akona pesa, akona gari mzuri, akona gari mzuri, and boom, something happens. And he's no longer the rich guy you met. Are you going to walk away? So you really have to choose. Is it the finances you want or is it the relationship you want? What is it you're looking for? If you want a good relationship, then you work around that relationship. Because rich or not, he could be a good man or a bad man. Poor or not, he could be a good man or a bad man. It's your choice. It's really your choice. But then again, in the same relationship, there are times when you will be at the top and there are times when he will be at the top. What you should be looking for, am I looking for a guy who is going to take care of, is responsible enough to keep this relationship? Or are you just looking for, mimi nataka tu mtu akona gari kubwa, nataka kuvaa gold, nataka kuenda holiday Dubai every 6 months, I don't have to work. Fair enough. But he's driving and boom, he gets an accident and boom, he's incapacitated. What happens? You walk away and dump him and go to the next rich person? So it's not, you have to choose. Is it riches? That's why I told you there's a difference between you want a relationship and you want riches. And you want, you have to decide what it is you want. But in the same breath, there are men who are also saying, I'm looking for a woman who's financially stable. So what happens? Tutaka hivi tunakuanga tukingoja nani yako stable.
Alafu pia kuna hiki kitu kwa wanaume siku hizi ati mademo siku hizi. Okay, mademo siku hizi si wife material. I think it's because most people siku hizi wanapenda kupiga sherehe, ku club, kufanya nini. Hizo tu masherehe. So they don't see wife material in someone?
We were talking and I told you, what do you call a wife material? What are you calling a wife material? Is it somebody ule anavaa hema? I mean, what is it that you're calling a wife material? Because I don't think I woke up and I was a wife material. I don't think, because I have no experience of being a wife. So as I go into a relationship, you learn. You get to learn. You realize, okay. First of all, you know, when you are dating, there's a very big difference between dating and now you are married. When you're dating, you can easily say, leo sioni kama nasikia kupika. Situkule tu chipo, alafu na kakuku, alafu ni sawa. Unasikia kukula chipo za wapi? Ama unasikia kukula kuku ya wapi?
Pitisha delivery.
My friend. And then you're like, wow, this guy is nice. And then one day he says he's gonna marry you, and you're like, weh, mimi ndio nimeanguke?
Mangukia.
And then one day, you're married. You're past honeymoon. And you're from work. Umekuja umebeba chips na kakuku. Si ni kawaida. Umetoka job. Ati sasa nimechoka leo, acha leo tukule chipo. You get home and this man is telling you, "Hi, my friend, chipo mimi. Mimi hata sipendi chipo." We've dated for the last 2 years, my friend.
Tumekuwa tunakula
chipo. And it has never been an issue. Yeah, but then you are not my wife. Now you're my wife. Then you realize, oh, so this guy likes homemade food. If you're going to live with somebody for 40 years, 50 years, you cannot know this person for 2 years, even if you are closed in a room, because life is a cycle and life keeps changing, and people change in different stages. And because of that, it becomes difficult to say, set to date for 2 years. Alafu anaweza nifanya hivi. This is nonsense, unaanza kujam, ndio? But you do not realize that it's like when you're looking for a job. Unatafutanga job. Sisi utafuta job sana. Unatafuta job, unajiambia mimi nikiget job 6 am nitakuwa job. And then you get a job. The first 2 months you're at work at 6. The next month unaanza kuona ni kama anakusumbua. Si ndio? Unaanza kuingia 9 o'clock, mdosi akikuuliza, today you're late, unajam. Kwa nini? Because kuna familiarity imeanza kuingia. You realize that it's really, sometimes you realize I don't have to work from 6 to maybe 3, but I am more efficient from 9 o'clock to say 10 p.m. And sometimes you even work overnight. But nobody pays you for it. It's just that it's your responsibility. So if you get into a relationship with a thought of lazima kwenda do, yes, you material, wife material. What is this wife material? If I took this fabric and I didn't put it on the chair, it will just be fabric. So you won't know if I'm a wife material unless you make me a wife. Then you know whether I'm a wife material. Because the same way, ukinikatia unanibaia chipo, unanibaia chocolate, and then you marry me, I expect that these chips and chocolate will go on. But for some reason, it doesn't go on. Should I walk away? So there's nothing about being wife material. Are you a husband material yourself? Before you start saying, these girls of these days, are you one yourself? What have you done as you to make you the man that can attract a woman that will stay with you for 40 years? I mean, really, pick your struggle. Pick your struggle. Hakuna ati sijui wife material. Uende ukachukue kitenge uianike pale. Alafu unasema nitaenda harusi na ile kitenge. And then on the wedding day you start saying, by the way, hata sina nguo. Sasa hiyo ndio umerealize ulikuwa na material. But you didn't do anything about it. So what is this wife material, husband material? What is this? Grow together. That's what I believe. Grow together in terms of as you grow by age. I don't mean grow together financially. I don't mean whichever way you want to grow. Because even if you find somebody who has financial stability, you need honesty for you to know what is the actual value of that financial stability. What exactly do they do? Because you can find a rich man, but is he upright? Does he kill people for him to make his money? Is that the husband you want? Just because he drives a flashy car? pick your struggle. Unataka relationship, unataka material, what do you want? But do you want a person that you are saying, look, let's walk into this tunnel while we do not know what is on the other side, but let's walk into this tunnel that is called marriage. This is what I expect and this is what you expect. When I got married, we both didn't have jobs. And 20 years later, here we are. So it's
doing great. And also giving back to community.
For us, it was about actually when we decided this, we were friends for a very long time. We've been friends for the longest time. But when we decided to get married, we said, look, if we get married, there are two things that are going to happen. Either this marriage works, and if it works, it means we still remain as friends. The only problem that will happen is if it doesn't work, and then it affects our friendship. You get? So what is our alternative? That it must work. Our alternative was, this must work. It doesn't matter how, we must be committed to it, and it must work. So it's a commitment.
But me and I feel, huko kitambo, I think people were just responsible. Both men and women were responsible. But siku hizi, hata wanaume wataki kuwa responsible.
What do you mean by responsible?
Because unapata madem wengi huko ni single mother. Wanaume pia wanataka tu pia wakae tu hivyo.
Tukae hivyo, kila mtu akae kivyake.
Ama unapata wengine wameagree, okay, msichana ako na ball ama ako na mtoto wa huyu jamaa, lakini wameagree waishi kando kando.
It's a choice. I started by telling you, you have to decide what you want. Do you want a relationship, or do you want, again, it's unfortunate that the generation that we are bringing up has this point where this independence story, this kind of independence that we are building around ourselves, that I am a woman of speech, I am tuko na kakitu kanatusumbua,
independent, I pay my own bills. Yes,
kuna kakitu kanatusumbua. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing to be independent. It's one of the best things that somebody can have. But in the same breath, while you're independent, the number one rule about a relationship is about the two of you. And that's why when you talk about single parenting, it has really nothing to do with having a relationship. A tree grows and it has branches, and then it produces fruit. And then what happens? The fruit matures. Once it matures, it ripens. If it was not pulled down, it ripens, and then it falls down, and then it rots. So does the tree stop growing? No. Does the tree stop being a tree? Do the branches die off? They still stay, isn't it? Now, a relationship, and especially marriage, is like a tree, which then has branches. And the children become the fruits of the tree, okay? Because the Bible says, "Go ye and multiply." That's the Bible, not me. Go ye and multiply, and the fruit of your relationship shall be children, isn't it? Now, this multiplication has nothing to do with the tree, completely. Hii mti lazima isimame beyond the fruits. And in a relationship, these children grow, and then they ripen like fruits, and then they drop off, and you stay as a tree. So if this relationship cannot stand as a relationship by itself, and it stands based on its fruits, then it has no value, because that fruit will not multiply, isn't it? The fruit will not multiply. So in a relationship, this thing about people saying, I got married to him because niko na mtoto wake. Huyu mtu ni mjinga. This guy is an idiot. He doesn't want to live with me, yet he has given me a child. I was brought up by a single mother. And I am a good person because she brought me up well. My mother brought me up well. Okay? And I think it was a choice that she wanted to have a child. It was a choice. And she decided she'll do the best out of it. Did I turn out to be a bad wife because I was brought up by a single mother? No.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Exactly.
It's a choice.
Uh-huh.
So if you end up as a single mother, it's because there was a relationship. It may have worked, it may not have worked. Or I really wanted to have a child and this guy was not ready at the time. Call it good riddance. I mean, let him go. Because what's the need of you being with somebody who will not even value you? Because ati lazima anioe. No. And if you're able to take responsibility for your actions, usually it's the best choice of life. That and I'm being sensitive to talk about relationships and men dumping women with children. It is wrong. And sometimes we women play a role in it. I mean, I'm a mother of boys. And if tomorrow a girl walked in here and told me, Mom, your son has amenipea mimba na mtoto ndio huyu, I don't think that if my son said mtoto si wangu, I don't think I would live by mtoto si wako. Prove that that child is not yours. Because this child did not ask to be born. And this child needs a sense of belonging. I come from a thought that sometimes we mothers are the ones that push our sons into saying, uyo si wako, and then you become bitter about that girl. And possibly it's just a situation that happened. And this child had no choice of whether to be born or not. But the choice of taking care of that child, really, that I don't agree with. I mean, you give birth, just take your responsibility. If you don't want us to have a relationship, it's fine, but we have a child.
Just take the responsibility.
Just take the responsibility, you know? But again, the flip side is, and maybe your viewers will say the same thing, the flip side of it is this: sometimes women get children to trap men. That's the flip side of it. Because then you'll hear men saying, but Miss Kutaka mtoto, we were just still knowing whether this relationship can work or it cannot work, and boom, she has a child. Am I ready? Did I, or I even said we are not ready at this time, let's push this relationship so that we can plan our stuff. But the women that we are, because we were given a persuasive spirit, and that was deliberate of God. That and the reason why we are meant to be submissive is because we can easily convince you into something. Sisi tulijengwa na mfupa na walijengwa na mchanga. So we came from a stronger being who is the man. He is stronger, and that's why sometimes I say you can't fight a man. Even if you wanted to, you can't. We can call ourselves what we want. No, we can call ourselves what we want. I have a son here, he's 13. I wish he comes in when you're here. He's 13. Mrefu kuniliko. I can't start beating up this guy. I can't. Ndaumwa na huku, kila mahali kuna niuma. So why beat him? Just deal with it in another way. So the thing about responsibility is individualistic. It's very individualistic. But let's not get into a relationship because we have children. Children are an additional value to a relationship. And because of that, those children, I usually call them strangers. Because today you're my niece and I cannot decide whether you're going to sleep here or you will sleep somewhere else, even if you are living with me. You'd easily say, Auntie, today I'm going out with my friends. Because you're a grown-up. And because of that, the stronger thing to do in a relationship is to build a bond that is not affected by whether they are children or not. Because there are relationships that have also died off because there are no babies. I married you 5 years ago. Huna watoto, what are you? But you do not know that it's me. Maybe it's you. Who proved that it is the woman who has a problem? So the value of wife material and the value of men not taking responsibility, you must build a balance as an individual, because it's a generation. We're building our own generation, and that is wrong. So this this perception of responsibility, people just need to take their own responsibility. If you choose you don't want me, it's fine. But take your responsibility take responsibility for your actions. If you're going to say siko sure kama huo mtoto ni wangu, do a DNA. Prove that the child is not yours. But don't dump a girl with a child and when you were having fun with her, you didn't think she's fertile enough to give you a child. I mean, so that responsibility lies with both people. My advice would be, do not engage sexually if you do not know where the relationship is headed. Do not. Because
Unapata ball.
Ukishapata ball,
Nasema yuko ready.
And unfortunately, it is the women that show. Alifanya kazi yake akaishia. Anatembea kama mtu nomo. Na kumbe ako na mimba miezi 9. Na yeye hajali. So it's let's I wish that the young people can take proper responsibility. And for us to stop saying that I'm an independent woman and therefore, because the number one rule of marriage is, or relationship is, one, companionship. That's a number one purpose, that we must have companionship. If we don't have companionship, then there's a problem. If we are in this because we are having unaita sherehe, tunaenda sherehe, nasikia Friday ni siku ya sherehe. I mean, not a bad thing. But after sherehe, are you responsible enough? And are you responsible for what you're doing? We are engaging in sex. If a child happens, are we ready? Or do we still want to have sherehe? What's your choice? So make a decision. Really, it's about the decisions you make.
Your opinion on madem when you date mabwana za watu, because nowadays watu wana prefer getting money. Alafu nasikia kuna hii saying watu sema watu wanafanya umalaya watu wanafanya umalaya kubai mashamba. So mtu akiona kama hiyo kazi yake ina bring out something, anabai mashamba, ana aspire next year maybe anaploti mahali, it's okay, like
it makes it okay.
Yeah, it makes it okay.
I don't know whether to say yes or no. Because personally, I would feel bad if a girl your age, for example, would want to date my husband. Okay? Because, or even a boy your age would want to date me. I would have a problem. Personally, it's a personal problem, but maybe that's my problem. Maybe also because of how we have been brought up and the choices we've decided to make. Because you can be brought up well, but you decide that I want to be a drunk, or you decide I want to live an immoral life. As a grown-up, we have no choice. I mean, on how your child will turn out to be if you have taught them the right way. And that's why the Bible is very clear on how we should bring up our children. We are told to bring them up in the ways of the Lord. That even when they go astray, they shall remember the same way. Isn't it? Now, if then you have been brought up in the right way and you have chosen that your dad's friend is the man you want, I really have no...
Your dad's friend.
Yes. Because it's the only way you can look at it. I tell my daughters here every day. When you dress up and you're walking away, ask yourself, am I going to be comfortable around my dad? If not, or am I if my mom saw me like this, will she send me back to go and dress again? And that tells you then what you're doing is wrong, isn't it? So, and the question that I always ask, if for example today, sorry to deviate, but I'm deviating so that we can actually go back to where we are, the question that you asked.
Yeah.
Every time you're going to visit your in-laws, right? You want to wear a nice long kitenge. Kama utafunga kitambaa, kama kwao anafunga kitambaa, hata utafunga kitambaa. Because you want to show a different you or a respectable you. So why not respect yourself enough on every other day? Because you do not know when you meet your father-in-law, for example. Just because you're waiting for when you go to the village for you to wear a long dress, or let me not say long, but let me call it decent. Let me call it dressed decently. Are you decent enough that if you see your father, you'll be proud to walk out and he will be proud to say, this is my daughter? Or will he be saying, salimia my daughter, na hakuangalii kwa sababu my friend
When umevaa
anashindwa ukitoka kwa nyumba mama yako alikuwa na like, is this what we taught you? Now, why I refer to our parents is because our parents are the pillars and they're the best examples that we pick from, isn't it? So if then you decide to go to a man who's 40, 50 years older than you, and sorry, God rest your father's soul in peace, he's older than your father, right? But because it makes you buy a property, does it make it right? Would you take the same man to your father? Or you're just here saying, your dad is a mama nauliza, utaolewa? Yeah, very soon. Mama natafuta vitu zitaniweka vizuri alafu ndio hii story happen. But at the same time, you waste a lot of time trying to do what you're calling amassing property, and then you move on to now you're ready for marriage. Are your age mates sitting there and waiting for you? No.
we move on.
Wali move on, hata walisahau you existed. And the older you become, I tell my friends, ukianza kusonga 35, 36, hata ukianza mtu wa kukuuliza unaitwa nani, anakosa. Anakosa. At 23, at 20, at 28, at 30, you're at the prime of your age. And that time everybody's asking, what's your name? Can I take you for coffee? Can I take you for... Yani ukiangalia simu yako ni, when are you free? Sindio? My message is when are you free ndio mingi. I can assure you, the older you become, when are you free stops happening. Because when you are free, and when you are supposed to be looking at people who are potential husbands, you're busy chasing after somebody else's value. Or somebody else's, like you said, there's the connotation that you started together. Mulianza from scratch. Sasa akona mali, amekuwa target ya mtu mwingine who has not been a part of this growth, presumably. Has never been a part of this growth. And even if you found somebody who's financially stable, 10 years from when you found them, the financial stability where it was, it's gone higher because you've possibly added your value into it. Now when somebody else comes and starts saying, I want to be a part of it, it becomes a difficult story, right? But again, in the same breath, do I have control on whether my husband decides to be faithful or goes out with another woman? I have no control. I only have control on me as a person. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be with? If I take a choice that I do not want to be with my husband, he has no control at all. He totally has no control. So you as a young person, you have control on the kind of person you want to attract. You have control. You don't have control on somebody seeing you as a beautiful person. That you have no control. Kwa sababu wewe ni mrembo na hukuambia Mungu akujenge mrembo. You just found yourself being described as beautiful. And everybody is beautiful in their own way. There are those who say mimi ni mrembo kwa sababu najua kuchora eyebrows. Kuna wale wanasema mimi ni mrembo kwa sababu nimeumbwa in a certain way. But there are people who are different choices again. Kuna mtu hataki mtu plus size kama sisi. Kuna mtu hataki mtu mwembamba, kuna mtu everyone has a choice. There are people who like chips very dry, there are those who want them very fatty, there are those who want them soft. It's a choice. So whether this girl decides to have a relationship with a man who's not necessarily the husband becomes difficult. And it becomes difficult because if the man says, I want to marry another wife, are you going to fight it? Do you have a choice? You can walk out. Like you can choose, mimi kama unaoa mwingine, I will walk out. For me, my belief is, I ain't walking out. My investment is quite, my emotional investment, my physical investment, my friend. Sasa saa nikianza ku walk out, nianze kungoja kwa barabara tunasumbuana na wewe, nani anatuambia tunaenda kahawa? My friend. I mean, there's of course people will have different reactions because of different experiences. But I have no control on whether my husband decides to be faithful or not. I have no control whatsoever on whether he wants to have another wife or not. I have no control. It is purely his control. It is purely his responsibility on how he wants to live his life. If he chooses to go the polygamous way, it is now up to me to either fit in or fit out. Choice is mine. Yeah.
Kuna wisdom.
It grows on you. It's not something that if you asked me this 10 years ago, maybe that wouldn't be my answer. I'd be like, nesa mungoa hivi kama. So it grows. You learn to fight battles that you're able to fight. You don't fight battles that you can't fight. I mean, the president today is the president. Whether he decides that all of us must pay tax and he gives an executive order, from where we sit, we have no, we made a choice as Kenyans on who we want as president, but how he treats the Kenyans after we have put him in power is really his responsibility. It's really his and that is relationship. Let's get into a relationship. Like when you choose to come and see me, you're my niece, but you can choose not to be my friend. Tukutania kwa stories za family, you know. Tunachanga, kuna harusi tuchange. Kuna matanga tuchange, tuchange. But when you decide to build a relationship, we have decided that you're my niece and I need to know you better. You're my auntie, I need to know you better. I need to pick some knowledge from you. So it's a choice. Everything in life is a choice. So I can't decide and I can't say it's a good thing or it's a bad thing. But for me, it is a bad thing for me not to be faithful. It's a bad thing. For me, it's a principle. It's a bad thing. But for whether he's going to be faithful or not, let's not fight things that we have no control over. Let's not fight the things that we have no control over.
So I'm very to subscribe to his channel.
Oh, subscribe to this channel. We're having fun here with Bella Itemere. Join us.